This wasn't a good week, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend it was. A lot of traders gauge their trading week by their P&L. For me, it's more than that. I made beginner mistakes I know better than to make, right? So instead of skipping past it, I want to talk you through every trade, what I saw, what I did, and exactly where it went wrong. Because if I can catch it, you can too. Today should have been a win. Let's talk about why it wasn't. My whole strategy is simple. I'm marking out prior day high and prior day low. That's the red and green lines you see on my chart. I'm looking for a break of one of those levels, then a retest. And I wait for an entry signal before I get in. That's it. No fancy terms, no indicators nobody's ever heard of. Break, retest, wait for confirmation, then go. Today on IWM, my bias was bullish. I had that going in, but when the retest came, the candle that printed was actually a red entry signal. And I took it anyway. That's the mistake. One decision. When your bias is bullish, you wait for a green signal to confirm it. I didn't wait, I forced it. And here's the part that cost me. Because I entered on the wrong signal, my stop had to go in a spot that made the trade way wider than it needed to be. If it takes this entry correctly, my stop is tight, my risk is small, and honestly, the trade probably works. Instead, I'm sitting in a trade with a stop that's bigger than it should be, and it gets me out. Here's the kicker. After I was already stopped out, I kept watching, and it hit what would have been my 2R target. With patience, with just waiting for the right candle, that's a winning trade. Instead, it's a loss, and it's a loss that's 100% on me, not the market. That's the lesson from today. Bias tells you the direction, the signal tells you when. If they don't match, you don't have a trade. Yesterday is a little more complicated, so let me walk you through it honestly. First trade of the day on QQQ was a loss. Clean loss, nothing crazy, just didn't work. Risk was managed. Second trade, I gauged the market for a bias, checked my confluence, everything lined up the way it's supposed to. I took the trade. This is exactly how my strategy is designed to work. I do my read, I take the entry, and then it's out of my hands. Either it hits my target or hits my stop. That part isn't something I can control. I don't try to. But I have to be honest with myself here because my first trade of the day was a loss. There was a little bit of, let me make this back sitting in the back of my head going into the second one. I don't think it changed my entry, but it changed how I managed the trade after it was hit. The trade went in my favor. I was in nicely on it. Then we ran into a heavy resistance and I gave almost all of it back. It hit 1R, and at 1R basically made back what I lost on the first trade plus a little more. That should have been enough for me to lock in something, but because it didn't hit my full 2R target yet, I didn't take anything off. I just let it ride, hoping it will keep going. There's always a piece of this I'm still not 100% sure about. NASDAQ was sitting right at the resistance at the same time. Was part of why QQQ stalled out? Honestly, I don't know. I'm not going to pretend I have a clean answer for that one. Some trades you just have to put an asterisk on and move on. Or the real lesson isn't the resistance, it's the emotion. When you're trying to make it back, quote unquote, you stop managing the trade the way you're supposed to, and you start managing the feelings instead. Now here's the trade that actually explains the other two. QQQ, good trade. Followed my rules, took profit at 2R like I'm supposed to. On paper, that's a win, and it was. But went for a massive move after I was out. And looking back, I could have held that longer. Here's what actually happened though. And the real takeaway of the week. I came in with a clear head, no carryover, no baggage, but one red candle on the bullish bias. And that's all it takes to turn a good trade into a loss. That's honestly the biggest thing I want you to take from this week. Emotional mistakes, they stack, right? But execution mistakes, that I know I can fix easily. The next trade, I can make more than enough to cover my losses for the week. But it's the emotional mistake that we have to get over. So that's the week. A loss I turned into a should have been win by rushing my entry. A good trade I let resistance and a little bit of make it back energy take profit away from. And a genuinely good trade that I brought emotional weight into from the day before. None of these are strategy problems. My process works when I actually follow it. Every mistake this week was me not following my own rules. If you're in the same boat this week, you had a rough one, you know exactly where you messed up, drop it in the comments. Saying it out loud or typing it out is honestly half the fix. I'll see you in the next one.